What's up and good morning, War Report family? Your man Ike Jones here. The morning drop Friday, February 24th. We're talking about Ole Miss basketball. Yeah, once again, talking a little Ole Miss right here. Kermit Davis has been released, or mutual parting of ways, as they say, as the Ole Miss basketball coach. The question we asked this morning is, did Auburn basketball break Ole Miss? Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Yes, indeed. Morning drop here, your man Ike Jones, talking a little basketball in Kentucky coming up tomorrow. So we can definitely discuss a little bit more Auburn basketball in relation to the Kentucky Wildcats and the matchup tomorrow against them in Lexington. But breaking news out of Oxford: Kermit Davis, no longer the head basketball coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. Right after Auburn beat them in a game, let's be clear, Auburn probably should not have won. A lot of missed shots from Ole Miss point blank range, missed free throws. Kermit Davis started off really good with them, took them to the NCAA tournament as an 8th seed. Since then, they have not sniffed anything other than mediocrity in Ole Miss. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Kermit Davis is a bad coach. I think he's actually a really good coach. He put some good strategies together, but he just hasn't been able to produce the effort and the results that Ole Miss, for some reason, Ole Miss feels like they deserve. I don't know. We understand here the nature of what we call B and U here on the here on the War Report. Y'all know what it means, B and U. I ain't got to say it no more. Y'all know what it is. But hey, man, Kermit Davis isn't here anymore. But before we get too far into the conversation, you guys make sure that you share the video. Hashtag get your weight up at the War Report on all social media. Like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. We appreciate everybody who continues to support us. But go ahead and get those thumbs up so we can get our engagement up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also leave your comments here in the comment section. I will be getting to those comments here in just a moment. But let me just go ahead and just talk about how this is weird to me, because, again, so let's flash back to the football season, and we'll talk about how wrong I was in that instance. I'm not familiar with the culture of what's happening around Ole Miss. I hadn't heard a lot of rumors swirling around Kermit Davis. And I talked about, it's weird to me to fire coaches in the middle of the season. Like, why not let them play through the entirety of the season? I said this in the Brian Harsin situation, completely wrong in that scenario. I was just like, I don't know what good it does. It absolutely did some good. Does this do good for the Ole Miss program, right? Like, the only prayer that they have to make a tournament is to make a big run in the SEC tournament, right? To make the NCAA tournament, that is. I don't even know if this is an NIT team, but the only prayer that they've got to make it to the NCAA tournament would be to make a big run in the SEC tournament. Does firing Coach Kermit Davis give them some level of enthusiasm for the players because he just had lost the locker room? I don't understand the timing of the dismissal. You know, basketball is, if you listen to the conversation that we had with Coach Stephen Pearl on our channel, we did get an interview in with him, and he talked about the calendar for basketball being a 12-month calendar now. Essentially, there's only a few weeks really at a time out of the year where you're not having some sort of duties, whether it's recruiting or getting into some sort of training for players and bringing in the new kids that you've got coming in as freshmen and or transfers, and trying to get them acclimated to your program, and then really starting to get into the season, any preseason tournaments that are going to be happening, right? There's a lot of things that are going. So there's never really an ideal time to let go of your head basketball coach, or football coach for that matter, because it has turned into a 12-month calendar over on the football side as well. But there's never really an ideal time to do it, but it's odd of the timing of it. And that's why I got to ask the question. Yes, it's a little petty, and I don't care, because y'all know your boy Ike Jones likes to be a little petty. Did Auburn break them? Did we break Ole Miss? Are they broken because they lost to Auburn again, 4th straight time, and they're just like, we can't take this anymore? You guys already almost took away our football coach. We didn't appreciate that. You guys took away some of our offensive staff. We didn't appreciate that. You took away our middle linebacker. We don't appreciate that. And then you go out And a game that Coach Bruce Pearl himself said in the post game that Ole Miss is a rivalry for them, right? So maybe Ole Miss feels some kind of way that they can't beat Auburn in basketball, and Kermit Davis got to go. Kermit, it's been nice. It's not easy being blue and red in this case, but you're a little green now with envy for Auburn. We got to holler at you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, Kermit Davis, again, I actually think is a really good coach, very complimentary of the effort that he has put together as far as game plans. I thought they had a really solid game plan against Auburn to come in. And they have some interesting guys. This is the other portion that I really want to discuss. They have some interesting guys. If you listen again to the comments from Coach Bruce Pearl in the post game, where he was talking about Ole Miss, about their players, they have some actually good players on this team that he feels like can compete on any team in the country. Does Bruce Pearl and this Auburn staff, do they go after some of these players potentially who could be entering the transfer portal because they had some sort of connection with Kermit Davis? Or this is just an easy way for them to say, all right, well, you know, I wasn't having fun here anyway. Let me go find someplace else to go play basketball. And they enter the transfer portal. Does Coach Pearl go after some of those players now if they enter the transfer portal? I think it's going to be interesting to see whether or not this proceeds as a domino effect to possibly get some more scorers in on a team that's desperately going to be needing some scores next season. When you look at the makeup of what Auburn basketball is right now and the things that we could be potentially losing in the offseason from a team that's already bereft of scoring. Can we go after some scores from that team to pull them in? Guys that already know the SEC landscape, already know what the grind is like to play in this league, physically, mentally, understands the matchups that are existing right now. Could we potentially go get some of those guys in the transfer portal if it happens? I'm not saying that it will. Right now, they have the interim coach lined up, who is one of the guys on staff right now. I don't recall his name. I did look it up a little bit earlier. And then, maybe they bring in some dynamic head coach. Who knows? I mean, Ole Miss fans will tell you they've got all the money in the world. Grove Collective is flushed with cash. So they shouldn't have any problems getting a new head coach for the basketball team, right? They're going to hire somebody who is some dynamic coach that is going to shake up the league, right? Because that's what Ole Miss does. They get dynamic coaches for their teams. They scored Lane Kiffin. They were able to keep him away from Auburn. So they're going to do the same thing with their basketball program, and they're going to land an amazing coach who's going to revolutionize their program. Let Ole Miss fans tell it. I do wonder what the Ole Miss boards are saying right now in terms of, does Ole Miss even care about basketball? I mean, let's be serious. Like, does Ole Miss care about basketball? I mean, I know the athletic department likes to pretend that they do, but I don't know what they do as far as support of that team and financially. And I have no idea what the turnout is consistently for their games. So does Ole Miss care about basketball enough to go hire a quality coach for them? Is the landscape changing that much in college basketball in the SEC now that we're starting to perennially put teams in the top 10 to 15 range every single season out of this conference? And it's not just Kentucky every year, right? And it's not, Florida's kind of come back down to earth a little bit, and Arkansas is starting to make an ascension back into those ranks. But now you're seeing Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, that other school in the state, Florida, in and out of there, consistently being in those amongst the top programs in the country. Texas A&M I feel is on the way in that direction. So I really love the job that Coach Golden is doing down at Florida right now. I do think he's going to have that program in a good place. Is Ole Miss just like they're reading the tea leaves here, and they're like, okay, I got to figure out a way to compete in this league that's getting tougher. So let's go ahead and make this move away from Kermit Davis right now. I do wonder what Kermit Davis does going in the future, because if you listen to, or it's not listened to because I haven't heard it, but if you read the comments, they said it was a mutual parting of ways. Maybe Kermit Davis was sick of them too. He was like, look, man, y'all ain't doing nothing to help me out. Apparently, I'm not the right guy for this program, so let's move on in a different direction. I see a lot of comments coming in from you guys. We will get to those comments in just a moment. I'm rocking with your guy, Ike Jones, right here, morning drop style, War Report, talking a little Auburn basketball. Auburn is on the way to Kentucky, probably as we speak. They're probably already on the road. I don't know if they're flying. If they're flying, they may be a little bit later today, but they are traveling to Kentucky to play them tomorrow. I will be in the building. I am making the trip up to Lexington tomorrow, so I won't be doing any sort of preview thing for you guys tomorrow before the game, but I will be at the game providing you some live thoughts of what's happening right there with them. Auburn has an opportunity here to get a big road win, one thing that they have lacked severely this season. So hopefully we'll be able to go out there and handle business. Kentucky, one of the better rebounding teams in the league, that has been an Achilles heel for Auburn of late. When teams are good rebounding teams, we've been given too many second chance opportunities, and Kentucky is a decent scoring team. So the thing for Auburn is just going to have to be figure out a way to score, not turn the ball over, all that kind of stuff. We can talk more about that at another time. But do want to hear you guys' thoughts on Kermit Davis and whether or not how do you feel about that situation? Maybe you're not too interested in it. Maybe you're not a big basketball person. I love basketball. So, but topics on basketball, you see, I'm wearing my Outlive shirt today and everything. Topics on basketball are things that definitely might pique my interest. So I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' thoughts. But you are watching the morning drop right here. Guy Ike Jones, War Rapport, sponsored as always by Rogue Shop. Make sure you guys head to rogueshop.com using code Rapport for 10% off your purchase. Rogue Shop, America's #1 online dispensary. Got something for something that ails you, right? So if you got a situation that you need some stress relief, some pain relief, some sleep aid, Rogue Shop's got something that can help you out there. Bath salts, they've got the candles, they've got, of course, the Delta 8, all that is available at Rogue Shop. Wherever you are, Rogue Shop ships there. We'll just make sure you look at the legal ramification about things that you can order from the site, but also always responsibly use any products that are there, but they have plenty of things that have nothing to do with anything CBD related. So make sure that if you have an ailment, rogueshop.com is the place that you head. Use code Rapport to let them know that you want to lock in, and that tells them you guys at the War Rapport sent you. But let's get into the comment section and talk a little bit from hear what you guys are talking about. John Brandon jumps in, starting us off saying it's not that Kermit was a terrible coach, but the SEC has come on strong in b-ball the past few years. Lots of pressure. This is what I was saying. Like, maybe Ole Miss is seeing the SEC is starting to step up as a conference in basketball, not just a football conference anymore as far as the national landscape is concerned. SEC has become a major player in basketball as well. Don't necessarily have the national titles to prove it of late, but do have the appearances in the NCAA tournament, appearances in the top 10, top 15. So it has changed the landscape, or the landscape has changed of recent in the SEC. And maybe Ole Miss is like, hey, we're falling behind. Kermit Davis might not be the guy to get us there. Haley says, why did they fire that man? It's not like Ole Miss is supposed to beat us at basketball, not like when we fired Harsin, because we were supposed to beat them in football. This is a good point. Nobody expected Ole Miss to win that game. I don't even know if Ole Miss expected to win that game. But it is a little more disappointing when Auburn loses to Ole Miss in football. So, at least from the Auburn perspective, right? Again, I don't know if Ole Miss fans are like, nah, man, we're supposed to beat Auburn. We're better than them. They're not supposed to be better than us in basketball. This is a tragedy. So I don't really know, man. I don't know. Michael Carlisle jumps in. Kermit was on the hot seat the end of last year, won 2 conference games this year. Gotta go. Again, why the hot seat? I mean, this is only season 4 for him. And I say only season 4 as if that's not enough time to turn a program in a positive direction, especially considering the trajectory the program was on. Because again, when they first got there, took them to the NCAA tournament as an 8th seed. But it's just been moving in the wrong direction since then. Is it that he just doesn't have the opportunity, or the ability, I should say, to land big recruits, and they feel like they should be recruiting better? Is the product on the court not been satisfactory? The results on the court haven't been satisfactory for sure. But I don't think Ole Miss, despite their record, I don't think Ole Miss is a bad team. I just think that Ole Miss just lacks 1 or 2 key pieces. Same thing you can say about an Auburn team that lacks 1 or 2 key pieces. Ole Miss lacks a few key pieces to make them consistently competitive. Auburn lacks 1 or 2 key pieces to make them consistently championship worthy, right? Like, so there is a hierarchy there that I I know for sure Auburn basketball is above Ole Miss, but question is, like, is Ole Miss overrating themselves a little bit? Listen, have pride in your team, go out and do the best that you can. It's going to be interesting to see who they hire to replace him, though. P-Pass jumps in and says, playing a new building, half empty hurts recruit. So built a new facility over there, but Nobody is in there watching them play. So um, that definitely hurts guys that want to come play for a program, the atmosphere. So that's one of the things I see a lot of people from other fan bases trying to demean the size of Auburn's arena, right? They're saying Neville Arena is, that's a little cracker jack box. It's a little small arena. I think it's a good size arena for what Auburn basketball traditionally from a fandom perspective has been. It's the right size to make sure that you're going to always have an arena full of seats, right? You want to pack out the building and make sure your atmosphere matches what's necessary for that program. So I would rather have an arena that's the size of Neville Arena that's always going to be full than have some huge arena that we can't consistently bring the energy to and make sure that that ticket price is going to be something that is coveted, right? You're going to have to make sure that you're making your program facilities and your arenas match the status of your program and not just go out here spending money chasing what looks really nice but doesn't really do any good for you in the long run. And I think Ole Miss might have overplayed their hand a little bit when it comes to building that new facility over there or that new arena. Let's see here. Vonnegut Brooks says, "Can you break something that's already broke and ugly?" This is a solid question here. Um, I'm going to say the answer to that is not really, but you might could damage it further, right? It's already broken, but you could, take another little piece off of it. So yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. P-Pass jumps back in. They were broken. The second lane called 2 timeouts, shovel passes at the goal. Listen, man, at the goal line. I have been a noted critic of Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin and the decision making they make in certain scenarios, specifically fourth down, and then some of the stuff that they do in the red zone. Just it baffles me sometimes. Um, I don't understand it. I don't understand the play calling and the decision making of when to go for things, when to kick field goals, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so it's a sports program that's been broken for a while, I will admit. Ben Bloodworth says Kermit was the SEC Coach of the Year in 2019. Seems stupid to fire him after playing Auburn close in Neville Arena. This is again, the timing is so interesting because it makes me feel as if they were already in a place of disrepair, and that was just kind of like the final straw. That's why I asked the question: did we just break it completely? With that loss, they were like, "Oh, this was too heartbreaking. You guys should have won this game." But I can't point to anything strategically that Kermit Davis and his staff did that I felt like was dumb, right? I didn't feel like, "Oh man, they got outcoached this game." Guys were missing layups for plays and stuff that was orchestrated well. That's not on Kermit Davis, right? So is there something that's been festering underneath the surface? I know that they haven't had a good record this season. They haven't had a good record really over the last 3 seasons. But how much of that do you attribute to the coach at this point in time? Because again, the timing seems weird. Was it just like we've gotten to the requisite number of losses and you guys had an opportunity to turn this ship around in the season and we just don't feel like it's going? I don't know. Again, I'm not in the minds of the administration over at Ole Miss, but it just feels really weird on the timing of this. Let's see. Michael Carlisle says, "I want Ole Miss as one of our 3 permanent games, Bama, Georgia, and Ole Miss." Speaking of the potential rescheduling situation that's going to be happening with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas to the conference and how we're going to be doing that with football. Wanting Ole Miss to want to be the permanent guys. Hey, listen, I mean, that rivalry definitely has taken an uptick of recent, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know how big a rivalry it is in football year in and year out, but it's definitely gotten to another level. Corey Weber jumps in and says, "Would love to add Matthew." Hold on. Wait a minute. Corey Weber. Happy birthday to Corey. I got it right this time. It is Corey's birthday. Wait, it was Corey's birthday. Yes, it's Corey's birthday today. I think I got that right. I literally just got this right the other day when I messaged him, and now I'm second guessing myself because that's the way my brain works. Anyway, whether it was yesterday or today, happy birthday to Corey. We'll get back to your comment right here. Would love to add Matthew Morrell. He would be great in BP's offense. I think Matthew Morrell is a dynamic, big guard that can come in and he can score. Doesn't shoot a great percent. Let's pull up Matthew Morrell's numbers here just for S and G's here. Let's see if I can find Matthew. Yes, I am Googling live on the stream because I can do that. Who gonna tell me not to? Stats for young Matthew Morrell here. Matthew Morrell is shooting 37% from the field, 29.2 from three, 92.6 from free throw. The boy don't miss a lot of free throws. Averaging this year, games played, minutes, field goal, points. Ooh, his points production is at 14.7 per game right now. Adding a 14 points per game to Auburn's offense would be pretty good. So I ain't mad at that. So yeah, I Matthew Morrell again. I like what he's been able to do. He scored 23 points against us in the last game. Wouldn't be upset at seeing him added to the Auburn offense. Let's see here. Who else we got? I'm not gonna read that one, John. That's funny though. Let's see. P-Pass says the MSU resurgence didn't help Kermit. I mean, Mississippi State, they're okay. I don't know. Haley says funerals have better atmosphere than Ole Miss home basketball games. That's harsh, Haley. You're not wrong. There's nothing menacing about the home court for Ole Miss right now in basketball. Again, the empty arena with the somewhat engaged fans is not enough. So you're going to have to figure out how to change the trajectory in order to get into a better place. Vonnegiel jumps back in and says, what do you think is going on with Chance Westry? Do you think he sticks around in the era of the transfer portal? I don't see any reason why Chance wouldn't stick around unless he's just not enjoying himself at Auburn. I think he is just a guy who was working himself back from injury. He redshirted this season. He's going to have full eligibility, and he should have a good pathway to playing time with the situation that we're going to have with guards potentially leaving. So Chance should have an opportunity to come in and play next year, unless he doesn't feel as if he's going to have, playing time. There's no reason I would assume that he's going to leave. I haven't had a chance to speak with Chance Westry, so I don't know this for sure. But yeah, I would see Chance Westry having a prominent place in the league next season at Auburn. So hopefully he'll be able to stick around and make it happen. James Barnett, and I've seen a couple of other people ask questions about my feeling about the Kentucky game. I will say this about Auburn versus Kentucky. I quite literally, don't have the ability to predict Auburn game to game. We can sit here and talk about all the reasons how Auburn could win this game, should win this game. Kentucky is a team that has routinely let people hang around in games. They'll pull away and then they'll blow leads. They haven't played solid defensively for an entirety of a basketball game as of yet. They're a good defensive team when they want to be, but they're a bad defensive team at other times. They are not the most physically imposing as far as post defense in the league. Once you get into, they have some players who can do well as far as guarding the rim and that sort of thing, but they're not like great at it. They're good, but not great. But I think the thing again is Auburn has struggled with teams that rebound the basketball well. Oscar Tshiebwe is still one of the best rebounding bigs in the country, and they have a team full of athletic players who can go out there and rebound, and they can score. Right, so it's not going to be an easy game, but playing good defensively and not turning the ball over is always going to be a recipe for Auburn to be successful. And if Auburn can go out, excuse me, go out there and play solid defense and make sure that they are just not giving up. Like the Ole Miss effort that they had on defense is not what you want to see at all. Um, I'm not gonna say effort because I don't think it was necessarily an effort thing. It was just the communication and the adjustments that were not being made defensively for Auburn on the floor with dealing with a lot of the curl action that was happening from Ole Miss is something you can't see against Kentucky. You can't just give them easy free rim runs like they were in that game. You stay away from that, and you should be in a good place. But listen, this is by no means going to be a gimme, despite what people feel about whether or not Kentucky is a great team this year. Kentucky is a solid team that can still score with a bunch of talent. So Auburn has an opportunity to go get a big win, and we'll see if they can come up with it. I do think that this team is motivated to go out and do some things. And they want to have a good close to their season. And they do have a shot at all three of these games down the stretch, including Alabama. I think that Auburn played well against Alabama in the first game, and they're going to be motivated to play well again against them in the second one. And Tennessee, and you guys know that we really should have won that game had we shot just a little bit better from shots that we could have made, right? Not even tough baskets or free throws, and actually making open, uncontested looks that you had. Auburn should have won that game. So definitely have an opportunity to win it down the stretch. Let's see. Corey Weber asked, how does Broom match up with Oscar Sheway? I think that they're very similar players. Oscar does not play like above the rim. He can jump. I mean, I think he can jump better than Janai Broom can. But he's not like just some really freaky above the rim type of athlete. And both of them have good post moves. Both of them are potentially double getters in any given game. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think that's really going to be the key to a lot of this is foul trouble amongst the bigs, right? Like, are we going to be able to stay out of foul trouble and make sure that because if we lose, our big men in this game to foul trouble, we're going to be in trouble defensively. If they're already going to be a good rebounding team, we have to figure out this playing defense without fouling thing, or playing defense without getting called for touch fouls, right? Like we've got to figure that out in order to stay competitive in that game. So we'll see. I think a big portion of this game is going to be about foul trouble, though. If we stay out of it and they get into it, then we're going to have an opportunity to dominate down in the paint. All right. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. See a lot of comments here about the Kentucky game. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of things that we're gonna have that are gonna be impediments to us winning this game, but we do have an opportunity to go to get a big road win, and hopefully Auburn is able to pull it off. Anyway, man, that's it, man. I'm about to get out of here. Ole Miss fans, chin up. You've been watching the Morning Drop right here with your man Ike Jones on the War Report. As always, make sure you guys go ahead and patronize our sponsor, the Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com, using code REPORT for 10% off of your purchase. Share the video, like the video before you get out of here. We appreciate all of those things. We're out of here as always, War Eagle, and we'll holler at y'all on the next time. Peace.